Well, there it is, guys. Hello, Witty here. Just want to do a really quick review of Godzilla vs. Kong. Just finished watching this movie. I had a good time. I thought it was fun. The combat battles were really awesome. However, the film might not necessarily satisfy the depth that you might require from movies. I want to go into spoilers pretty quickly, so if you would like big battles and you can ignore a lot of the human parts, then you're gonna have a good time with this movie. They're not as bad as the previous film, Godzilla King of the Monsters. That was way too heavy on the human elements. They had the human elements in this, and it gets a little bit annoying. Well, I'm being generous here, a little bit annoying, very annoying. However, it's improved, but it's not improved as much as it could have done. I'd recommend it, but just bear that in mind. Now, I want to go straight into spoilers pretty much because this is going to be a quick review. I'm just going to sort of skip through parts of the movie that sort of remind me of what happens with the plot. So yeah, we got this sort of like 8-year-old child that can basically control King Kong. She's mute, but she's able to sign language, and he's able to understand that. I don't know exactly where they trained or taught or how they taught Kong to understand everything that she could communicate. It's pretty okay. That's a stretch, but it is what it is. You just go with it. Then you got the mother character who's just doting on her all the time. She was okay. I think she was playing the role quite well as the mother, but she basically was just a babysitting character for the little girl that can control the monkey. Or should I say ape? Then we have the side plot. Okay, I'm going to get into these and I'm going to complain about these periodically through the review. But the side plot basically is this podcast dude who's all into conspiracy theories, and Millie Bobby Brown, who is from the previous film. I don't know whether she's got a contract to be in this film. And the guy that was in Deadpool, the bad character from Deadpool 2, essentially the kid, he's not necessarily bad, but he was kind of playing a bad character up until the point where he kind of redeems himself a little bit, in quotation marks. He's also been in the Santa Claus North Pole, one of those films as well. I ended up watching that at some point. I don't know why, but I did. I think it's on Netflix. So you have these three human characters that basically going to get themselves into the bad guy's lair, the evil corporation. I hated this so much. The evil corporation. These guys have plot armor thicker than a rhinoceros's ass. It's actually incredible. But you knew that if you've watched the film beforehand, which was Godzilla King of the Monsters, because Millie Bobby Brown is invincible. In the previous film, there's multiple scenes, not just one, multiple scenes of her sort of like running around the city or through complexes, and stuff is being destroyed, debris thrown everywhere, and the whole time you know she's not going to be even grazed by even this tiniest bit of debris, because no, we couldn't have her getting even scratched. She is just invincible. She is the actual god. Screw King Kong, screw Godzilla. She is the god. And I don't know why they are in this movie, because they really drag it down. They're there basically to show the corporation is evil, but I honestly think you could replace them, have the corporation be not evil, just perhaps their intentions aren't necessarily the right intentions or the morally correct intentions. However, they do have good reasons for what they're doing, because honestly, I was siding with the corporation. I do wonder when I watch these movies whether I'm a bad person or I'm evil or something, because I find myself always rooting for the bad guys, in quotation marks, bad guys. But they were so cliche. Their guns were red. The lights, the LEDs within the complex all of their facilities were red. The whole thing, the Mecha Godzilla, which is a creation of theirs, has red. Like, this film has zero subtlety. And these side plot characters, I could just call them the side plot characters, they somehow managed to infiltrate this facility. They never get hurt when every other security guard always gets hurt. Within inches of them, they always survive, and then they can go to the next point. They're never discovered what it is they're doing. They wouldn't even get to the first 10 minutes of this movie. They wouldn't even get much further past that point, because in this day and age, especially a company like this that apparently has more money than God, they would have security everywhere. They would have infinite amount of people just monitoring what is happening. But these guys had the thickest plot armor. It really rubbed me up the wrong way. I'm going to talk about them almost more than I should be talking about the good stuff because just how annoying they were. But anyway, they go through all these little adventures and they never get hurt. They use the most simplest methods to get from A to B, and they just get completely carried in this movie. Like they just get in a shuttle somehow, and this shuttle just so decides that the moment they go in it, despite being there the whole time, that's when it's going to go and travel all the way to Hong Kong. Well, what would have happened if they got there 30 seconds after? I guess they wouldn't have been able to make it to Hong Kong. Like, how did anyone not see them? Oh, God. Please, someone help me out here. It's just like, I was so distracted. I would have liked this movie more if they were just completely not in it. They distracted me so much, and they get really obnoxious towards the end as well. You think, okay, you can tolerate them for like the first half of the movie, and I say tolerate generously, but they just keep throwing them back in. I was saying to the screen, stop showing them. I do not care. Anyway, so basically, King Kong is within a complex somehow. They managed to build an entire Truman Show complex, like a massive building that sort of like just replicates this environment that he was in with all the waterfalls and stuff like that. I don't know how they managed to do that whilst he was there, but they did. Yeah, okay. I'm just gonna gloss past that. And then it turns out that they need Godzilla, they need King Kong to show them the way to this underground sort of place full of life and big monsters, because that would be a thing that would really happen. It's not like it would be boiling hot down there or anything like that, being closer to the Earth's core. But science in this movie is very woo. And I'm quite... I don't know. I have to really suspend my belief on this one. But anyway, let's just say, fuck it. There are dinosaurs and all sorts of shit in the middle of the Earth somehow. So it is. And they transport him, and Godzilla's like sentient beyond all belief. I don't know how, but Godzilla seems to know where everyone and everything is without actually having any knowledge prior to the point. If someone can explain that, the movie has a lot of gloss over explanation. This isn't going to be a quick review. I'm trying to be quick. The movie has a lot of gloss over explanations. It's like, Godzilla knows where he is. Yeah, but how? But they don't say. Godzilla does this. Yeah, but how? King Kong will show us the way. Yeah, but how? But just, no. You're never going to get an explanation in this movie for anything. So you've got to take that into account. So we go back to the side plot of the characters just sort of like whiling their way. There's a big battle between King Kong, who's being transported on the ships, between Godzilla. Godzilla comes through victorious on that round. King Kong was pretty lucky to even be still alive at that point. Then they managed to transport him over to Antarctica because King Kong is going to basically show them the way to this underground. And they got the technology that's like, woof. The technology in this film it's about 40 or 50 years advanced from where we are at this point. It's pretty, again, generous. But you just go with it. I'm assuming it's not modern day times. If it is, then whoa, this technology is way beyond what anything we're currently capable of. But there you go. So they've got these ships that the humans travel in. And these humans, they go with King Kong to this sort of dinosaur inner layer of the earth. And there's some cool scenes in there, but it gets kind of really silly. I think the film starts to get a little bit too silly because it just raises more questions, such as, for example, King Kong finds his home. There's these doors. Who built the doors? He opens the doors. There's a fucking axe. What, one of them made an axe? Did they? Okay. How did they know how to do that? We haven't got anything in humanity that shows that within the sort of ape king, whatever. This axe is there. It's amazingly powerful, and he sits on the throne. Okay, so whatever. Meanwhile, Godzilla's like harassing humans again. And he sort of like finds out kind of where King Kong is from the other sort of outer layer of the earth. And he's in Hong Kong, and he basically like uses his radiating breath to sort of like beam down through the earth towards where King Kong is exactly. And apparently it's not even that deep, or at least it didn't even look that deep, and you can get there. So that was convenient. But yeah, the scientists that go with the good guys, basically the guy, the woman, and her daughter, like who are funding the trip, are the cliche sort of evil corporation. They keep sort of speaking like in such a sort of cartoony style, like we have to have this, or get them, or we will take this. Like the good guys immediately know they're bad as soon as they sort of send a little drone to basically take a sample of this radiation. Oh, of course they don't wear suits or anything like that when they come out of the spaceship, because you wouldn't, would you? Especially when all this radiation's around and stuff like that. They never do anything like that. But again, you gloss over it. You just put it in the back of your head as best as you can and try not to think about it. And then they just instantly know they're bad because the script tells them they're bad. Like, what's wrong with them taking like a sample? And then they really go whole hog into it. The bad guys, I keep saying they're not really bad, I don't think. I mean, she's kind of cartoony bad, the daughter of the guy who's setting this all up, this funding. And yeah, they're suddenly like, okay, point the guns at them. And then King Kong's like, wow, you're bad. Okay, you're definitely bad. I suspected you were bad, but now I definitely know. Why are you pointing the guns at these humans? Like, all the guards get killed by these little bats that sort of like get rocked up because Godzilla fired a beam down that upset the bats that were in this giant cave, the throne of Kong. You have to go with me on this if you've never seen this film. I assume you're watching this point if you have seen the film, because it would help a lot to understand what the fuck I'm talking about. But yeah, of course, every single security guard dude gets killed, but none of the plot characters get killed because they literally can't be. They're invincible, no matter what happens. And then the daughter of the bad guy who set this whole thing up, because she's there to get a power source that can help power up Mechagodzilla. She decides to say shoot King Kong, because he's in the way, but he's not really, because they're shooting him isn't going to move him out of the way anyway. They're going to fly sort of around him so they can go through this tunnel to get back to her father to give him the power source. But this whole thing was kind of pointless because she gets killed. King Kong gets shot at and he's like, fuck you, grabs the thing and then just crushes. But somehow they were able to download that sample to the father. So he's got what he needed from the download, so they didn't even need to escape. So yeah, she could conveniently die at that point. How do you download this power source? Again, science makes no sense. So where are we going after this point? Dear. Yeah, I'm just... Oh, yes. Okay, so this Mechagodzilla is somehow being powered by Chidora or something like that. That was the bad guy in the previous film, the Hydra with the 3 heads. I don't know how that works, but somehow his sentience is within this vehicle, but it's being controlled by a human being that can sort of like psionically sort of connect with it. And then he gets control, but somehow later on that turns around and yeah, he loses control, and Chidora's got full control of this mecha suit and knows exactly how to use all of the rockets and everything within it. Again, like, how did Godzilla even know this mecha thing existed? Like, he's just sentient beyond belief. You're just going to say, oh, he sensed its presence or the power, but they were saying he was hunting it like really early on, like from its inception. How the fuck does Godzilla know everything? He's got like the mind of a supercomputer or something. He's just a fucking... I mean, really, when you get down, he's just a big lizard that literally just fucking swims around the ocean and chills out on the land. He can't fucking know these things. Like, it really irritates me when they want you to expect to know this stuff. King Ghidorah was an alien kaiju who telepathically talked between his 3 heads, so it used the power to link itself with Mechagodzilla. Yes, they said something like that in the thing. Because its necks are so long, it telepathically connected between each of its heads to talk. But why did they even fucking need Chidora to power this Mechagodzilla? Only for the fire beam that it did? But I don't know. All of it seemed like it was just pure technology. Like, the whole thing seemed like it was just a big metal Godzilla. It didn't seem like it needed anything from King Ghidorah, as far as I could tell. You had all these tubes coming out of King Ghidorah's head, but I don't know why it was needed. Again, they won't explain any of that, at least not from what I could tell. So then you get King Kong comes back into Hong Kong and fights with Godzilla. They have a big old battle. King Kong, he's got this axe, which is really useful. It can be powered up by the radiation from Godzilla. I sound so stupid when I'm saying all of this. I'm just hearing myself and speaking out loud. It just sounds so dumb. But yeah, anyway, it's fun. Those fights are awesome. Watch the film for those fights. But yeah, they have a battle, and it turns out that they need to team up together in the end, despite their differences, because the evil corporation made the evil mecha Godzilla. Can I just honestly say, though, I was with these evil corporations. There was nothing that was technically evil about them. It's only the cartooniness of the film that made it seem like they were evil. Or the good characters were like, you're bad because you want to make something that can help protect us versus these godlike titans that we have no control over. So that makes you bad. You have to trust Godzilla that he won't hurt us. And you are not allowed to have any defenses against this. No, fuck off. Of course humanity's going to build anything it fucking can to stand a chance against these things as a contingency plan. Like, how fucking naive and dumb are you to think... I hate characters like this, like these hippie type characters that are just like, oh, just trust them to be nice to us. No, the world doesn't fucking work that way. Oh, it just irritates me beyond belief. Yeah, no self-respecting human being with power and resources is going to be like, oh fuck it, I guess we'll just leave humanity up to the monsters. If that was the case, we'd be fucking dead hundreds of thousands of years ago if we decided not to build tools to fucking deal with like lions and shit that would be hunting us out in the wild. We'd be like, you know what? It's wrong to build tools to defend ourselves against these vastly superior biological creatures, which is true. The lions, etc., and all that, they would destroy us. You get absolutely destroyed. Humans are not as strong as apes and stuff like that, or lions, etc., etc. That's why we came and got powerful, is because we built tools to deal with our weaknesses. And they're basically putting the same logic here. They're just saying, well, don't build those tools to deal with these giant, enormous monsters that can take nukes. Like, what the hell? So you're just going to literally leave it up to pure luck. Anyway, I'm blabbering on again. And then you get to like the final sort of like 20-ish minutes of the movie where the fights are really cool. Like, honestly, the Mechagodzilla kicks ass. I really love what they did with it. I think it doesn't really make sense how Chidora just sort of knows exactly how to use this thing and is like activating all of its power boosters and rockets and stuff. But okay, whatever. It's worth it because it looks awesome how it's fighting King Kong and Godzilla. But then it keeps cutting back to these side plot characters that are in this control room. Oh, by the way, I didn't mention that. Yeah, Chidora basically got control of the thing. The Mechagodzilla. The Mechagodzilla sort of like disconnects from the guy that was controlling it, so he's basically dead. Then the Mechagodzilla looks at the bad guy whilst he's doing a fucking bad guy monologue, because of course these three finally get taken prisoner in like the last 20 minutes of the movie, after sort of like going through multiple complexes, somehow never being caught, never sort of like even paying much attention. Like, she's just brazenly walking around this place. How they didn't get caught, again, it's the plot armor. But anyway, and of course they're going to take them to him, who's standing in the control room, so he can have a monologue. They're not going to take them to some fucking prison and let them rot in there. No, they're going to take them to him so he can explain to them what the fuck he's doing. Why? And then Mechagodzilla, because Chidora's taken control of it, basically swipes at the control room and takes the bad guy who basically made all of this out with one swipe, whilst he was basically turning his back to Mechagodzilla, whilst he's doing a monologue to these three characters in the control room. And of course, they survive. And I don't remember the security guards that brought them in getting killed as well during this process. But then they don't exist now. They are literally on their own, in this control room. There's no other people in this corporation. No one else has come from outside or somewhere else in the facility to come in and take control of the situation. No one exists. They are now all these free people within this giant corporation that has millions upon billions of dollars, and they've got control of this control room. And to deal with Mechagodzilla, at the end of it all, they can't hack the code because they don't know it. And I'm glad they weren't able to do that, because that would be stupid if they somehow managed to hack the code that would control the Godzilla. So they pour a drink on it, on the control panel. And this basically disables Mechagodzilla from using his abilities or something like that. So these three side characters somehow managed to basically save the day so that King Kong and Godzilla could basically defeat the Mechagodzilla. Like, as I talk about this, I get so mad. This movie was made for kids. I looked at a couple of reviews, and one of these reviews was actually really good. Like, I put it over here. Made for kids. Thank God for the children. Like, this one is brilliant. Thank goodness for the children. I won't read all of them because it's just the bits. But this is another adult movie where children save the day from evil or incompetent adults. And that's how you know it's a kid movie for kids, really. Because you know those stereotypical movies where all the adults are dumb and they trip over themselves and they're so super incompetent and the kids show them the way or the error of their ways. It was like that. How the fuck? Anyway, incompetent human adults kidnap Kong to bring him to Antarctica, where there's an entrance to the center of the earth. Godzilla burns a hole down to the center of the earth, and King Kong climbs up that hole. I mean, it's part of it. Apparently, King Kong is controlled by an 8-year-old deaf child. He virtually does whatever she says. Thank goodness for the children. She tells him Godzilla is not your enemy, he's your friend. By the way, he needs your help. Two children break into an evil corporation and get control of the Mechagodzilla control board. Thank goodness for the children. They can't override Mechanical Godzilla's program, so one kid pours a drink on the control board to short out Mechanical Godzilla. Thank goodness for the children. Kong and Godzilla decide they cannot be friends, but they will settle for Godzilla controlling the water and Kong controlling the land. And Kong returns to the center of the earth, but he needs human supervision. This is a movie for kids and adults who can suspend disbelief. You had to really suspend a lot of disbelief on this one. It's better than the previous one. And I would still think it's worth watching. But if you're anything like me, you will get taken out of the film time and time again as it focuses on these human characters that no one cares about. And they know that in these movies. And every movie, they've got like 10, 20% better at focusing less on the human characters. But they still have like 60% too much human characters in it. I know that you can't all be CGI fights between King Kong, but at least the human characters need to be a lot more believable and less. It was so goofy. They're always so goofy and so, like, the plot armor. Have them die. Like, just do it like these other movies where you have like horror films and there's 13 human characters, so you know that like 11 to 12 of them are going to die by the end of the movie. Just do that. But none of the human characters are ever in trouble. So every scene that has a human character in it, you don't care. Are they going to get into this spaceship that takes them all the way to Hong Kong without being discovered? Of course they are. Are they going to not be hurt by anything on the way? Like, there's 2 security guards that basically find them. And of course, Godzilla fires a beam that goes all the way up until this door that incinerates the 2 security guards that are standing next to the door, but not the other characters that are right by it. They're fine. And it's just like, why show these bits? Because I just don't care. Like, it has to be a movie for kids. It has to be a movie for kids. Honestly, it does. Because only a kid would sort of be maybe naive enough to sort of like watch all of this and not be fazed by those scenes. But anyway, there you go. That's a little movie review. I don't know if I'll do more of these in the future. This will be for like the WTii channel. Let me know what you think. But I'll improve on the concept. Obviously, give some feedback if you did even watch this, because there'll only be a couple of hundred people that'll probably watch this, but it will help. And have a good one. Take care.